on a mission to interview women and the occasional token man about how their passion and purpose have collided to create healthy relationships and profitable businesses. I am Elizabeth Denham, publisher of the Franchise Woman magazine, and I'm here with Rebecca Monet, who is the chief scientist of Zoracle Profiles. So Rebecca, how's your week?
It's been a crazy week. is all I can say. It's been kind of a wild experience. But I got to tell you about something that really happened that was kind of odd to me on Monday. Monday, I took the afternoon off because I had a death in the family and I just needed some time off. So I was going to get together with a couple of my friends to do some painting, which is my way of kind of letting the steam blow off. And so I'm on the freeway in San Diego and I'm in the slow lane and a guy comes around me with a big old jacked up white pickup truck, right?
Why are they always white?
They're
always white.
And he pulls right in front of me and he goes really slow. But the whole time he's giving me, the middle finger. He's flipping me off. And my natural reaction anytime someone does that is I smile real big and I wave real big, and just be really pleasant, thinking that would, whatever he was mad about, it would ease it up.
It'll diffuse it.
That's what my hope was, right?
Oh no, I'm sure that did not work.
It did not work. He just seemed to get more and more and more angry. And now he's pulling up next to me and starting to pull his truck over into my lane to kind of push me into the wall. And the whole time, his whole body, which he's kind of bare chested, which in San Diego is not a big deal because people are going to the beach. But he's all tattooed up and he's got his whole body out the window and he's just screaming at me. And 99% of it I couldn't understand, but I did hear him say something about old lady. And he's cutting me off and he's angry and calling me an old lady and all of that stuff. And I was thinking, why is he so mad? I'm the old one. I should be mad. Right? I should be mad.
Well, yeah. The old part would make me madder than the flipping the bird part because, who does he to make that judgment?
Exactly.
And then trying to run you off the road. And then your friendly wave is just agitating him even more. So clearly he did not want to make friends.
He did not want to make friends. The whole time I'm just waving and doing whatever. And then all of a sudden a part of my brain just snapped and goes, Rebecca, he could kill you. He's much bigger and a bigger truck. Mm-hmm. He could be packing heat.
He could totally be packing heat.
And I was like, okay, I gotta back off here. But honestly, as a behavioral scientist, my brain always goes, why is he so mad, right? I couldn't understand what was causing this out of control feeling. All I could see was a little boy on the floor at Target having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And the natural instinct as a mama and as a grandma is you want to pick that child up and just hug them really tight. But I just couldn't imagine being in his head and having whatever it was that upset him make him so out of control of his emotions and his thoughts that he would endanger his own life, to potentially create.
Well, and yours. I mean, that is clearly out of control. I mean,
clearly out of control.
He was trying to kill you. And maybe himself. Yeah. I mean, well, and now to your point, maybe his self-worth was so low he didn't care if he killed himself. I mean, now we're going to psychoanalyze him. What was going on?
We're going to psychoanalyze. Yeah. So what's going on in his little pea brain, right?
Right. But clearly the old part, that's the worst.
Yeah. I just thought it was unfair because I'm mad. I'm mad about being old. Why is he mad? Does he want me to live forever? And if he wanted me to live forever, why is he trying to run me off the road?
So many good points. I mean, what is it to him, really? What does he care?
Really.
12 or 120.
I know.
No impact on his life whatsoever. Well, I think you were very empathetic to this poor, angry young man.
Poor guy. He was trying to get to the beach or whatever his problem was, and I was in his way. I don't know what the problem was, but
Maybe
Yeah.
he's mad because he lost his shirt.
Yeah, maybe that could be tough.
I don't know.
But the
you
good news is,
have a rose.
the good news, the rose is I got to my friends and we spent the afternoon painting outside down by the beach, and it just turned out to be a delightful day.
So you were able to move past
Oh yeah, it was
being called
funny.
an old lady. Glad that didn't dampen your whole day.
Not at all.
Good.
Not at all. So how about you? What's your rose and your thorn this week?
Well, my thorn is just a general malaise, I think, of being isolated and stuck inside and same four walls and same routine and not seeing people that I see and family. And, I just, ready for a change. But I think we're all feeling that. It's kind of a tough time. And I feel like on the whole, I do pretty well with that. But occasionally I just get sick of it. Like I'm just
Yes.
over it. I'm done. I want to have a family cookout like we usually do, or have the kids have their friends over, or, go to a meeting, anywhere besides the grocery store. The only place I really go is the grocery store or the doctor's office. So it's, I think
millions of others are tired of this.
It is a universal feeling. I think you need to just get off our chest every now and then.
Yeah.
But
we're meant to connect and be in relationship and be social, and we're not able to do that with this pandemic going on.
Yeah, I mean, thankful for Zoom, because at least we're getting in touch with each other a lot and seeing faces. That's helpful. So that is fun. But my rose actually occurred to me when you were talking about your painting, because last year in January, I went to New York with a couple of girlfriends, and one of them, unbeknownst to all of us, scheduled an art class, and we thought that would be big fun. You drink wine and do some sketching, and in walks a naked man.
Naked. He was naked. That's an Alabama term, right?
It is an Alabama term. That's the way we say it down here, yeah. Naked. N-E-K-I-D. Naked. And so we sketched, and there were a whole bunch of variations of how we were told to sketch, and some of it combined, passing your sketchboard around and the next person drew the next thing. And so it was highly entertaining. There was a bridal party there of younger women, so that was kind of fun to watch. But it was more entertaining than I ever could have imagined, and you needed a little wine to get through it.
Yeah.
It's a story I'll never forget. Well, it's funny. He was so comfortable, you kind of just get over it. But it was just, we giggled a lot. Bunch of old ladies giggling.
A naked man.
A naked young man.
And how did the sketches turn out?
Oh, horrible. None of us could draw. They were pathetic. There were one or two in the group. There were probably 15 women, which I can't imagine being that young man and just standing there like it's no big deal to have 15 women of various ages and various stages of sobriety. The bridal party was hitting it pretty hard. They were having a good time.
I bet they were. Oh my gosh, that's a riot.
And then you take pictures with him at the end. It's just hilarious. He did put a little
You take
sash
pictures
on.
with a naked man? Naked man?
Naked, get it right. He tied a little scarf around his waist for the photos so that we were not in too close contact. But yes,
sanitary
you got to take, yes, exactly. It was an experience. And then there was a man serving the wine who was wearing nothing but leather pants, black leather pants and no shirt. So the whole thing was just a vibe.
Wow. Yes, that's a vibe.
Yeah, it was fun. My husband texted me and said, what are you doing today? I was like, you won't believe it. You will have to see it to believe it. Sadly, I didn't bring home any of the sketches because that would have been even funnier.
Yeah.
I got rid of the evidence.
Oh, well, your roses and thorns is fabulous. I love it.
Well, yeah, we had an eventful week, didn't we?
We did. Absolutely.
Alrighty. Well, wait for next week. Who knows what will happen in the stories of roses and thorns. So we stay tuned, and we will be back next time. Welcome back to the podcast where passion and purpose collide. Rebecca, Monet, and I are here with an incredibly special, fun guest. Rebecca, tell us who we have and tell us a little bit about her.
We do have a very special guest today, Elizabeth. So with us today is Patty Clisham. She's a Ducks and a UPS franchisee. She's always been in non-normal jobs for women. Her very first job at age 16, she worked at a full-service gas station, and she pumped gas, and she checked the oil, and she washed windows, and she loved it. She also worked right next door at a restaurant as a waitress, where she learned how to work with the public and learned the importance of time management. That experience obviously came in very handy later in life when she became a soils technician on the groundbreaking building of General Motors plant in Missouri. She took drafting at a tech school high school because her dad would not sign her paperwork to allow her to take an auto mechanics program. But having that experience got her a drafting job for Honeywell International, where she learned everything and anything about building automation and temperature control. Patty knew she did not want to sit behind a desk for the rest of her life. She went back to school to become a field service technician, and bingo, that was her calling. Troubleshooting electronics and making things work. It was a great career, but she still wanted more. After working in a male-dominated company with little chance of promotion, she decided she was going to work. If she was going to work this hard, she might as well do it for herself, right? And so she found Ducks, and she became the first Ducks franchisee in St. Louis, Missouri in 2007. Then 6 years ago, Patty had the opportunity to purchase a UPS store. The UPS store is a completely different animal than the Ducks business. And I'm hoping today, Patty frickin' Clisham will share with us the difference between a retail business and a service-based business and the skills necessary to run both. So welcome, Patty. We are so delighted to have you on our show today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm really excited to talk with everyone, you guys, and share my stories. I don't have all the answers, but I've sure made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I know what not to do.
Yay. Well, before we get into all your great stories, I gotta tell me this nickname that you have, this Patty frickin' Clisham that
Clisham.
You have. Clisham. Tell me.
Okay.
Tell me how you got that name.
Okay. So I have a sales manager here, and we were having a very stressful day one day, and we have at the Ducks on the Duck side, and it was like crazy. We had all this work, and we had how are we going to get this done, and so we're sitting down, we're getting a plan of attack, and I'm like, can we do this? Can we do this? And he goes, you can do anything. You're Patty Effing Clisham, and I'm like, yes, I am, and I'm like, that's me. And we did, and we got through everything. So he made me a nameplate, and I'm going to alter it a little bit. So there's my nameplate.
Oh, Patty
Duck sucker. So that sits on my desk, and that reminds me every day, I'm Patty Effing Clisham, and I can do whatever I need to do to get the job done.
You are a dirty duck sucker.
I am a dirty duck sucker.
That's awesome. Sometimes you just need someone to remind you of who you are, and there it is. Every day.
You do have to be a little careful how you say that. When you say, "Hey, I'm Patty, a dirty duck sucker," make sure you don't, get any vowels turned around. So. But it's fun. In a male-dominated world, you got to have a sense of humor.
Isn't that the truth?
You have to be able to take it and dish it out. And I have a good reputation and repertoire with heating and cooling and mechanics that I work with. And they do respect me, but boy, do we have some jokes that would just curl your hair. I've been able to make a pipe fitter blush.
Hilarious.
Bet you have.
And they respect you all the more for it, I'm sure.
They do. In the beginning, it was tough, though. It wasn't always like that. I mean, when I was first out in the field, when I was a technician for Honeywell, it was a few years back. And so the men see a woman out there and they're like, oh, she's taking a man's job. And, she's out here looking for a husband, she's just looking. And I'm like, no, none
There's
of that.
an idea.
Yeah. Well, they're already married, so.
Oh, I'm looking for a husband. Maybe I need to get in a ducks business.
Oh, hey, I got a job opening. So it was tough, even if you're the new person, the new guy on the job, you have to prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the new guy that's a woman, you have to prove yourself 110 or 120%. So you have to, I ate lunch a lot by myself in the beginning because nobody wanted to talk to me, and just kind of develop relationships, and you prove, you're there because you have a job to do. Let's take away the XY chromosome thing, and we're all workers, and, just because you have a, XY part.
Girl parts.
Just different parts, that's all.
Girl parts or an XY part, we're there to do a job. And I've always been interested in how things work. Like I said, my first job, working at the gas station, and they do you remember full service gas station?
Of course I do. I'm a boomer. Okay. Yes.
So a little old lady would pull up and you're like, oh my, and she was surprised, and so check the oil, clean the windows, fill the gas tank and all that. But the funny thing was when a guy would pull up and and then I would come out and he would be like, what, then he would get out and act like, oh, I'm at the wrong pump. I should have been at the self-serve pump. So, but.
That's funny. Well, all of that leads to an interesting question, I think, in terms of your transition from corporate work to business ownership. And one of the reasons that you've talked about making that transition was because you were hitting your head on the ceiling. You weren't being able to be promoted no matter how hard you worked. Your ethics and your abilities were not being appropriately rewarded, in part because you were a woman. So talk to us about the decision from that atmosphere to being able to really control your own destiny, and by building this trust and relationships, being able to, not have a ceiling anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, I work really hard and I'm dedicated. In high school, I think I only missed one day of school the 4 years of high school because I didn't want to miss out on anything. If you ask my mother, she'll tell you I was nosy and I just didn't want to miss out. So, and I didn't want to have to make up anything. I worked for Honeywell for 11 years with very few days off. I didn't get anywhere. I was passed over. I went to go work for another company. They loved me. I was organizational. I was, I'm technical. I have a good technical background, and then got bought by, Johnson Controls back at the good old boys club again, unfortunately. And I just, I worked there for 10 years and I did not have a sick day. I never missed a day every year. Now, it's not to say I didn't get sick. I would usually get sick on a weekend or a holiday, or if I took a day off.
It's all scheduled.
It all kind of worked out. But I never missed a day. And you could check all my history. In 10 years, I never had a sick day. I was always there on time. I was a dedicated person. Once again, I didn't want to miss out on anything. If I'm not there, what's happening? And it's kind of, it's kind of like now. I mean, I don't want to miss out anything, so I'm out there every day. But I got to the point where I worked so hard, and just being told, so-and-so, John got this job, he's got a family. And it's like, you know what? I have a family, and I have more education and I have more experience. Well, Patty, that's just how it worked out. Well, you know what? I was tired of that. So I decided that I was going to go out on my own. I always knew I wanted to own a business or run a business. I never knew what it was going to be or how it was going to look like. So that kind of pushed me after a reorganization, and I got kind of demoted to the office, and I'm not an office person.
No.
I can tell.
Yes, I started putting some things in place, and I found ducks, and I'm like, when I started, I went through a franchise, like a franchise consultant. So when they showed me a couple different ones, but the first one they showed me was ducks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my son had allergies and asthma when he was a kid. I never thought to clean the ductwork.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned more about working with restoration companies and working in commercial buildings. Well, that's my background. I know how rooftop units and air handlers work and how ductwork and how valves open and close and fire alarm systems. I know to you guys, this might be boring. I get so excited when I talk about things like this. If I meet somebody that knows building automation and temperature controls, I'm like, I'm all a tingle.
But you know what makes it interesting is your passion for it. Like, I don't really know a lot about that, but listening to you talk makes it interesting because you love it and you can tell you love it. And I love talking to people who have that perspective because it makes you excited about what they do and who they are. You know, so I think you could talk to a brick wall and make it entertained.
Well, I have my husband. He heard all my jokes.
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
so funny.
You're not funny. And I'm like, but some people think I'm funny. He goes, well, they haven't heard these for 30 years.
Aww.
But
That's so funny.
I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy working hard. It's if I'm not, I mean, I can't not do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is, you know, to some people it might be a little boring, and then now doing the duct cleaning. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of interesting things. You think duct cleaning, oh, how boring. I got some stories for you. Do you know what people hide up above ceilings in office buildings?
I can only imagine.
Money?
That would be
I haven't really
nice.
found money, but I found some inappropriate things.
Oh no.
Do you
like
know
what?
goes
Can you
on?
tell us?
I can tell you. There are a lot of pictures I've found.
Oh.
Polaroids, yes. Here's
For bribery later, right?
yes,
Blackmail.
yes. I've seen a
Blackmail.
lot. I found a lot of flashlights and screwdrivers that other mechanics had left up there, but I found a lot of magazines. Apparently people get bored that work nights and they just put up above the ceiling tiles. So.
Or teenage boys.
Oh my gosh.
No, they're reading The Franchise Woman. That's
Right. That's exactly what they're reading.
Yeah.
They're hiding
I'm
it.
not even gonna,
Franchise women. They're not.
I'm not even going to tell you some of the names of these. So.
Okay.
But also, I found some critters. Is that right?
I do. We find a lot of interesting things. And we have found drug paraphernalia.
Ooh.
We have found pictures. I do have to tell you about this one set of pictures we found that was in a house, and they were Polaroid pictures. And I did not know they had blow up dolls in the late 50s, early 60s. Now, the only reason I know that is when they did have some clothes on, that's what the era was. But I had a picture of a blow up doll.
Oh, hilarious.
a person.
My gosh.
They
And
did
in
a
the
picture
job.
of themselves.
Wow.
I'm going to write a book someday. Things Patty has found in the ductwork. And I'll have
Wow.
pictures. But let me
I love it.
I'll tell you what started the very first animal that I found in the ductwork. And if they're live, we call animal control. So we don't do anything where there's live animals because we're not trained for that. And frankly, I'm not going up there and I'm not going to send my guys up there if it's a squirrel, raccoons, bats, anything that could have rabies. So that's
Right.
for the critter control.
Right.
But I'll tell you, the very first thing I found, yes, this is disgusting. This is it's a possum skull.
Oh,
And it has hair and teeth. And we named him Pete.
Hi,
And
Pete.
This is one of the first ones I found. Now, actually, Pete was the complete carcass in the ductwork. And I have a picture of that as well. And
He's been there for a while.
they got a picture of it. I said, save it. They're like, we're not saving this. I go, save the skull. So they saved the skull. And I started with this one, and I use it when I do presentations because it's like, what's lurking in your ductwork? Because you never know. You move into an older house, you know what could be in there? It could be
Possum.
Yeah.
Possum. Pete could be in your ductwork.
He could be in your ductwork. And then, now I know I've kind of advanced some of my little things. So this is a bat that we found, and there is a frog, okay? So
Oh my
what I do
gosh.
is, and I know this is a little creepy, but I make little backdrops. And that piece, the funny thing is that piece of wood came from one of my vacations in Lake Tahoe. I found this little piece of wood and that piece of black, kind of looks almost like asphalt.
Yeah.
It is from St. Kitts. I found it and I kept it and I used it in my little, that's actually some old, or it came from a volcano.
And this
So
is
it's a
art.
little-
This is artwork.
It's
This
a
is my
diorama.
You got
This
a
is
moon.
my hobby right here.
You got this moon in the background. The moon in the background.
Yeah, I find little pictures that I think they're going to go, oh, this is another cute one. So this one, look at this is a little lizard.
Oh my god.
And I found this little desert. I thought that was perfect. Now, this piece of wood came from St. Kitts. So I find different pieces and I bring them home in my suitcase. God knows what the TSA thinks when they open up my suitcase.
If only they knew where it was going to end up.
Exactly. But I just make these, but we find these things in the ductwork. And I find things that are preserved that way. Look at this guy. Look how big this is.
Ooh,
That's
that's
enormous.
disgusting. What?
And it was like he just was walking along and died, but this was in ductwork.
Wow.
So I made him a little grass background, and I use these things when I do presentations.
What's his name, Patty? Do you have
I
a name
don't
for him?
know. I don't think we gave him a name.
I think let's call him Ned.
Ned?
Ned, N-E-D, Ned.
It's funny, I have a friend named Ned that I
Ned
worked
the
with
Dead.
at Honeywell.
Ned the dead bug.
Ned the dead bug. Okay, Ned it is. Oh, we do have one more, I'll show you. This
Okay.
we named him Count Duckula.
Oh,
He's a
hilarious.
bat. And so, but if you can see, it's like he just died. And you can see his little paws, his little, how detailed everything is.
Oh,
So we put him in our little thing.
Count Duckula. That is
Duckula.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's got to be pretty convincing when people are thinking about having their ducks clean, that
and
could
they
be
don't-
living in there.
And a lot of times we always take pictures and we take before and afters. And when the guys are taking the before pictures, that's when they see them and they get them out. We have a snake that's about this big. Yeah. Well, I don't have a case for him yet. And he's kind of delicate, but I need a case. I know. Sorry.
You need to do
Elizabeth
that
is-
one because that would be the most convincing of all things.
I know. I got to make a case for him. But
I
it
don't
was
know,
a
the
snake.
bat. The bat is a close second, girl. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
I have a
that's
lot
a
of-
rabbit, but snakes can be poisonous. I don't know. We lived on a farm, so I'm not overly squeamish, but when they're in the house,
Yes, this was
snakes in the house, we've had them come through the fireplace before, and it is just not fun.
Well, and you're in a house and you're in the basement and you move a ceiling tile
Mhm.
and there's a snake skin up there.
Ugh.
You know, there's a snake there somewhere.
Yeah.
So we find those too.
Oh, that's right.
Not
It's
a
like-
glamorous job.
No, but very
But you're-
fun.
Oh, I'm a hoot at a dinner party. I pull out my camera and I'm like, you want to see my dirty pictures? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no, it's dirty duck work. So
Dirty
That
duck.
I have
amazing.
pictures. I have pictures of my grandsons and my kids, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's some dirt, a dead snake, raccoon poop. Who knows what you're gonna find on there?
Oh, that is amazing. So you've got to have a little bit of a thick skin to get up there and clean all that out.
Yeah, you can't be squeamish. So part of when I hire people, you can't be afraid of dirt.
Well, let's switch over to, I want to talk to you a little bit about leadership, because we had talked to you the other day and we were talking about the difference in leading men and women as a female leader, the differences in the issues that you have, the respect that you get, the way that you speak to people. So outside of the crazy dead animals,
When it's down to, so.
tell us about the experience, because you have two very different, you have a retail store and then you have a service
I do.
system. So tell us, there's a lot of differences in the way you have to lead and the way we were talking about know your audience. So if you could tell us some about that, I think that was really important information for people to have.
Sure. So owning Ducks, a service business, we have technicians, great guys. and majority of them are men, and men are different to deal with, and you can tell them, do this, I need you to do this, or you screwed up, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, sometimes if you tell women that, you have to do it a little bit gentler, like, you know, not like you really screwed up and they'll start crying. So we don't want to do that. So you do have to know your audience. I believe that the people that work for me on my service side and my retail side, I mean, they respect me. I'm very approachable. If we have a problem, you know, or if there's a problem, I'll come and talk to them. I'm not a screamer. I'm not a yeller. In fact, I've been told I'm too nice sometimes when I have to reprimand people, but it's that, you know, honey vinegar thing, you know, you're going to get, you know, more of a response. And it's not, and I don't want to be soft, but I had so many crappy bosses in my life. I didn't want to be a crappy boss. And I wanted to listen to what my employees have to say. And if they have an idea on doing something different, like, hey, Patty, what about if we did this? Okay, it's not, you know, I don't want to be it's my way or the highway. I want to be able to listen to them and, you know, hear, you know, we have meetings frequently on both sides of the business where I'll buy lunch, bring them in, we'll do safety. We have to do safety. We have to do ladder safety. We have to do tie-offs. We have to do, you know, lockout, tag out. And I bring them in, have lunch. And that's the opportunity, you know, hey guys, what's going on? You know, is there any concerns, anything that we need to talk about? And a lot of times it's fun joking around and stuff like that. I always want to make sure that they have all the tools that they need to do their job. I don't want them to ever say, Patty wouldn't get us this or Patty wouldn't get us that. That has never happened. So, but it's all about communication. The same thing on the retail side. I'm there frequently. They can email me, text me, what do you need? And I buy them lunch, you know, or if I can't, I'll leave $20 and say, all right, you guys, lunch is on me. So you have to have, you know, let them know, one, that they're appreciated.
Yes.
And that's important. And that you do care. And one of, you know, if somebody's having a family issue or a child, you know, sick kid, those things all come first and work will work its way out. So if you do have something, but it's that communication. So I want them to know that I do care, and if they're happy and I'm happy, and then we're all happy and we make money and we have a big party at the end of the year and celebrate.
You know, Patty, it's interesting. You know, we've had 2 conversations with you, and you are hands down one of the easiest people I've ever had a chance to visit with. And my guess is your employees and your team probably are not concerned at all about what they can say to you, that you're going to take it just at face value. You're extremely approachable. You're easy to talk to no matter what the topic is. So if they're having a challenge, they're having a problem, they have whether it's with family or with business, it seems your approachability is a big part of your leadership skills that you possess. Is you're safe to come to and to say, hey, this is what's going on, or I need some help here, or I need additional resources.
I appreciate that, and I do pride myself on that. I've read a lot of books through the years, you know, and it's basically, it's not me. It's not Patty and Ducks. It's the team, and and I have a little saying on my board, and it's none of us are as good as all of us. And I do mean that. I mean, I can sell, I can talk, I can do all of that. But if my team isn't happy, and if they don't produce what I promised to the customer, then we're not going to be successful.
Can you, for those that are listening, especially prospective franchisees, there really is a distinct difference between running a retail business where customers are coming in and they're purchasing certain products, in this case postage and shipping and all of those things, rather than a service business. They're very different skill sets, very different business models. Can you address a little bit how those are different and how you're able to shift your hat from retail thinker to service thinker. How are
Well,
you?
well, that's because I'm Patty Effing Clisham.
Because that's right. Go
Perfect
girl.
answer. Perfect.
I know. You know what it is? It is crazy because when I think about what I do on a daily basis, the service side of it, and, you know, we're in people's homes and we're going in there and we have to have, you know, be prepared for that. And then the retail side of it, people are coming in to see you. So, I don't know how I did all this, but they're both important to me. And I like both of them. I mean, I like going in a store or whatever business and somebody greets me and, hi, we'll be with you in a minute or something. All my UPS people, they always do that. I get a lot of compliments on how they interact. Now, you know, dealing with the public sometimes is challenging and sometimes you can't make everybody happy. And so we have to learn how to deal with difficult people. But once again, it's like 99% of the people are easy to work with. But you do have to deal with sometimes the difficult people. I try and, you know, make sure my people know I have their back. So if they're doing their job the way they're supposed to be doing and following the rules, I mean, sometimes in the UPS store, we can't ship weapons. Well, people come in and they get really mad about that. So my people have to be calm and they have to explain to the customer and how they can't do that or what they have to do. So just, you know, coaching, you know, but once again, I've had some rude customers and that have been mean to my people, and I have fired those people and told them never to come out of my store. Well, they will use bad language and they will cuss at my people, and I will not stand for that. That is like, you know, so I don't.
Because in that case, with the gun, hair trigger is not a hypothetical.
Yeah,
you know?
that is true. That is true.
There's just there's like a mama bear in you that's protective of your employees and your team members, that says, you know, I have good people, they're well trained, they're going to take great care of my customers. If my customers aren't treating them with respect and kindness, then I'd rather lose a customer than a good employee.
And, and it is the same thing at the UPS store as it is at Ducks. At Ducks, we're going into people's homes. People have invited us there to do a bid. They have invited us back to do a service at their house. We have been at houses where we have showed up and the husband or the wife scheduled the service, but the other one didn't know about it, and they were arguing in front of my people. And my guys are like, Patty, what do I do? And I'm like, you know what? Get out of there. Just pack up your stuff and leave. And it's like, they're going to argue. So you don't want to get in any kind of issue. I don't ever want to put my guys in any kind of unsafe situation. That's another reason why on Ducks, I always have 2 guys for safety and efficiency. But, you know, I am a mama bear and I care. I mean, I really, you know, I do. It's just, that's just part of me, I guess. I'm, you know, I don't know. I'd give somebody the last $20 I had. Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. So, but to this point, you're sending them in 2 by 2. What about when you first started the business and you were going in?
Oh, yeah.
Well, as a woman, what did you do?
I'll tell you what, in the beginning, I started Ducks with me and one technician, a young man, and we did all the jobs. And the days we didn't have jobs, I was out networking. I was visiting heating and cooling companies. I was starting to get into trade associations. I was going to chambers. I was doing any kind of networking I could. I was visiting mechanical contractors, which is always interesting because when they see a woman walking in the door, they're like, oh, what is she doing? You know, so.
You showed them who you are.
I did.
Patty Effing.
So it was, it was, you know, it was kind of, I don't know. You got to just let things roll off your back. And you got to just, you know, be, you know, focused on what you're there to do. And, but sometimes the mechanical guys, yeah, they're a little tough to deal with, but, you know, just, just keep doing it every day. I get that. I could do my sales thing in my sleep, Hey, how many ducks? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Why are you doing this? How come you're doing duck cleaning? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. So it's just habit. But that first year, it was me and that guy. And then the next year, I hired another young man, and that involved me, or let me go out and do more networking. And then, so then I just started, growing from there. So I don't know, just working hard.
I think you have to have a sense of humor to be in this business as a woman.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes, and I was going to ask you, what do you think is the single greatest piece of advice you could give another female franchisee coming into the duck system?
Don't be afraid to work hard. And I mean, I think I'm just wired different. That first conversation that we had, I don't know what makes me do what I do. My husband was a union electrician for many years, and then now he works for me. But he was a 7 to 3:30 guy. So when he got off work, that was it.
Yeah.
And now, I'm trying to make him into an entrepreneur, and that's not really working. I'm still trying. But for some reason, I just keep going, because it's not done. Nothing's ever done when you own your business. Mm-hmm. And they say, oh, have your own business, work your own hours. Every single one of them. That's like,
that is true. Truth.
You're never off, and we do night jobs and we do weekend jobs, and, but that's okay. I don't know. It's just this drive in me, and I don't know if I'm trying to prove something to myself, or I just am crazy. It's possible.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
Right? And I laugh about this sometimes. I'm like, God did this to me, because God did not want me to have any spare time. So I have 2 businesses. I belong to 4 chambers. I'm very active. I'm the president of one of the chambers this year. I'm very active in the trade association for the heating and cooling contractors. In fact, I had a board meeting today. I'm on the golf tournament. Oh, I'm always the ball sponsor. Everybody's all excited what Patty's balls say.
I bet. I can only imagine.
I always put little sayings on my balls. And my balls this year for the golf tournament are going to have a mask on them.
Oh, cute.
How cute.
And they're going to have my logo, my Ducks logo. And then it's going to say 2020. And I wanted it to say 2020. Well, actually, it says 2020 sucks.
Yeah.
So these are.
That was what was going in my head. 2020 sucks ducks.
Well, I wanted on there 2020 sucks balls.
Oh.
They're golf balls,
They are.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you are trouble. You are trouble.
I am sorry about that.
So I hate to do this, but because we could go on and on and on with you for 100 years, but we do have to wrap up. I think I agree with you that this drive that you have in you is God-given. Mm-hmm. And I think it is to keep you so busy and so involved that you don't get into trouble. Because if that energy was not directed to growing a business, who knows what kind of trouble you could get into.
And Rebecca, you're absolutely right. And my mother worries. She goes, you work so hard and you need to slow down. You're going to wake up one day and be old. I go, well, I am kind of, but Mom, if I wasn't, who knows where I'd be. So I'm taking this energy and I'm focusing it on the positive, and that's what gets me up every day. And I'm excited every day to be doing what I'm doing. And I don't see slowing down. But my husband did say if I buy one more business that it's possible he could hurt me.
Ow.
I'm teasing. No. I'll just buy it and not tell him.
There you go.
So Patty, how do people learn more about UPS and about ducks and about you? What would be the best way for folks to do that?
What, to get a hold of me?
To get hold of you.
Oh, anybody could get a hold of me. You can go to theducks.com. website, and you can go to St. Louis. You can Google me, Patty Clisham. I got a litany of, gosh, all kinds of things I belong to. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I talk to a lot of potential ducks owners. I've talked to some women. I mean, it is tough, physically, it's not easy. But, I'm not afraid of hard work. But, Patty Clisham, you can find me, Google me, ducks in St. Louis. My phone number's out there. You probably, I'm all over.
Thank you, Patty. Oh, wow, I'm worn out. Thank you, Patty, for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Welcome to Women in the Know, where we discuss everything from politics and policy to relationships and marketing. We share the knowledge we have gained through our experiences and our interviews with you, our viewers, in the hopes that we can all learn a little something from it. So, Rebecca, today's topic is the importance of humor. And I think it should apply to both our professional situations and to personal situations. So tell us what prompted us to talk about that today.
What prompted this whole conversation of the importance of keeping a sense of humor is the conversation that we had with Patty Chisholm from Ducks and the UPS. She's franchisee with both of those concepts. And she's the Ducks business is a dirty business. She's cleaning out vents, and there's dead animals and spiders and dirt. And yet she had this levity about her. She absolutely loved what she was doing and made everything kind of fun and humorous. Everything from keeping these dead animals. So she called herself a taxidermist. And all I could think was, I want to go to work for her. She's got a great sense of humor. She could take the mundane, more than just mundane, something that's ugly,
disgusting,
and dirty, disgusting. And she had this incredible sense of humor and levity about it. And I said, I want to be Patty when I grow up.
Well, that's the thing. And when somebody has that kind of attitude about a gross job, I mean, for one thing, it's fascinating. People, that's why that TV show, Dirty Jobs was so popular. People want to see the train wreck that they can't stop watching. But without the humor, it's just plain gross. When you add that humor in, and I think any job can be that way, whether it's a dirty job or not, if you get bogged down in the mundane of it, it can just be a gross, yucky day. But when you find the humor and you find the ability to laugh, and you can laugh at the people you work with, everybody is a lot lighter, I think. So I think it's critically important. And, even Laura Spalding, with what she does with crime scene cleanup, tells funny stories to break the heartbreak. I think hers is out of necessity to deal with it. Patty's is out of necessity to overcome the gross,
Yeah.
I think it serves a different purpose in everything that you do. And that's one reason when we've been talking somewhat about the coterie that we're starting, we added fun into our mission because we started to realize that it was an important element not to leave out. It's not just understood that fun should be a part of your day and what you're doing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, when you can laugh about something and make it playful and silly and fun, not only is it more energetic and more enjoyable, but I bet if we psychoanalyzed and did some psychographic assessments around that I bet there's some financial correlations there too. If you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself, and you can look at these ridiculous situations that we're all put in as business owners, and if we can look at it through a sense of humor, my guess is it's ultimately going to not only have us having more fun, but also making more money. Now, I can't prove that, and I would love to hear the opinion of others if that is true.
Well, I think so. And this pandemic is not fun. Clearly, no. It's not fun for people business-wise or personally, or mental health and physical health are harder to maintain. But when you watch the commercials that are done well, like the progressive ones lately have made me laugh, because it's everybody on the Zoom screen and you know, they make fun of the connections that are poor, or people who don't mute themselves, or, you know, whatever it is, and it makes you laugh. And I can't imagine that that's not appealing to people. They've got a couple of new characters and changing it up, and there have been quite a few commercials that have been actually kind of funny. And I think some people hesitate to be too funny because it's unprofessional or whatever. But I think it's worth the risk. You know, I mean, I worked for a person who wanted to brand their own marketing office, and one of the taglines we had thought of was we help you do you. And he was freaking out because he thought there was a sexual implication. And I'm like, my kids say it all the time. You do you, Mom. And he landed on, we help you be you, which just isn't quite as funny. It's like loses that level of hip. But he was so paranoid all the time of taking any kind of a risk that it made it not funny. It was like an attempt that missed, like stabbing in the dark and continually missing. So I think when you're willing to take that risk and willing to embrace it, you know, it's so much more of a payoff.
I agree. It's interesting you say what you're saying, because we've become so politically correct that we've all lost our sense of humor, right? And we're so concerned about stepping on a toe here or stepping on a toe there. And I'm not saying don't respect differences in people, but we do need some levity in our lives, and commercials that have some humor to it. In fact, at Zorkel, we did a video called "He's a Turd," and and those that know me know that I don't usually talk like that. So, but
that's why it's funny. That's totally why it's funny.
It's funny. He's a turd. What do you mean a turd as a franchisee? So this, you know, all I can say is make your life a little bit lighter. Especially if you're a business owner, lighten up. Have some fun.
Absolutely.
It'll pay off ultimately.
Nobody wants to be, this is how I describe people who don't have any sense of humor or personality. My husband will say, what was that person like? I'm like, paper, just paper, white paper, vanilla, thin.
Vanilla.
So all I have to say is they're just paper.
Paper. No
depth, no adhesive. Yeah, no color, no nothing. So paper.
Oh, well, I think you and I are going to we don't seem to have too much trouble with the fun part. But I say we get even better at it. We're going to emulate, for everybody watching this, what life is like building a business while having an incredible amount of fun.
Absolutely. Because I look forward to these talks all the time, and hopefully everybody else is beginning to tune in and look forward to them as well.
In the meantime, we solved another problem in 8 minutes flat. We are so good at this. But we do need to wrap up this Women in the Know segment, and we'll see you next week for another segment. Welcome to Ask Beck and Liz, where no topic is off limits. We want to answer your questions about business and life and everything in between. So to answer your questions, all you have to do is send your questions to ask@beckandliz.com. So that's ask@beckandliz.com. So Elizabeth, our question today actually stems from a couple of interviews that we've done in the past. And the question is about why it's so important to understand our audience. So give me your opinion on that, whether the audience is our employees or our customers or, you know, anything in between that.
Yeah, I think it's a critical skill, and I think it's one that can be developed. But over the course of the last several people that we've interviewed, Meg Roberts talked a lot about leadership in her communication and the way that she speaks to people and the ways that they need to receive it individually. And then Patty Clisham also talked about the difference between leading men and women, leading a retail franchise versus a service one, between UPS and Ducks. between the types of people and their expectations who are coming in and out of her doors. So I think that being able to adapt how you speak, you know, I speak differently in my personal life to each child because I know how they hear things or process things. So I think being hyper aware of that, you can be the greatest communicator in the world, but if you're not speaking someone else's language, then you're not going to be heard or understood.
Yeah. I think to your point there, and again, Meg Roberts dealt with this, and Patty Clisham,
Clisham.
Patty, I'm so sorry, forgive me. Don't mean to butcher your name. So both of them address this, you know, that how we speak with an employee is different than how we speak with a superior. How we speak woman to woman as friends is maybe a little different than woman to woman as you know, business to business business owners, or how we speak if we're communicating some kind of correction or feedback to get something from our employees. I thought Patty's comment about when she has to give feedback or critique to her male employees was so different than when she has to give critique or feedback to her female employees. She keeps in mind that as a whole, and this is a generic way of describing it, we as women are more emotional, more sensitive, more people pleasers, where for a man, she could communicate very directly, hey, you messed up and I need you to do it this way next time. And they go, okay, and off they sort of go. But with her female employees, she knew that she had to be, you know, more sensitive to the emotions, that it wasn't taken as personally. So I thought that was brilliant. And then to your point with Meg, when she is leading a group of franchisees, these are smart, risk-taking business owners. And even there, she knows to lead them, she has to understand them and how to get them all on the same page, going the same direction, and willing to collaborate.
Mm-hmm. And she said that she used the firm, fair, and friendly tactic, and it varied which one she led with depending on who she was talking to. So she's very intentional about knowing who she's talking to, which I think speaks to relationships in general. And then Patty cracked me up because when she was talking about the differences in men and women, it reminded me of my ex-husband's rugby team in the Navy, and how they would name them their worst trait. Like the guy who couldn't catch was hoofs for hands, and he didn't care. Nobody cared. I mean, I didn't even know these guys' real names. I just knew no skills. There was one guy who just didn't have any skills. He could run, I guess, and he could hit people, but he didn't have any skill. So they're just like, yeah, whatever, I'm no skills. I'm like, how do you claim that? Why would you own that? But there are differences, and you know, you have to acknowledge that. And some women, she's a tough one. Patty's a tough lady, and so is Meg in very different ways. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling you could call Patty hoofs for hands, and she might be okay with it.
Oh yeah, I love her nickname. You know,
Patty Effing Clisham.
Yes,
I've been thinking about that ever since she said it. Like
it's just brilliant. It describes her. It basically It says, I can do anything. That name and what she's been entitled says, I can do that because I am this person. It's an identity that has been created. But in both of the ladies' cases, and others have tapped onto it, it's knowing your audience, right? Their position, their personality, their motives, their communication styles. It's knowing them and communicating with them in a way that makes sense for them.
Absolutely, I agree. It's a big lesson. It's a big lesson in stepping outside of yourself and understanding someone else's perspective.
Yeah. All right. So, excellent topic. Love it. We always solve problems so quickly. It's just always amazing to me. So thank you everyone for joining us today, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. This is Beck. and Liz signing off and wishing you another purpose-filled and profitable week.